you, who I do think are one of the rare people just like committed to saying what you think is true, committed to remaining independent, right or wrong. Like you don't want to be influenced. You want to reach your own conclusions. And you want to be awake enough to see signs from God. And I admire all of that. But now you are supposedly part of the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Because you were a CIA contractor.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what does that mean to be a CIA contractor? How did you get that gig? What did it entail? Are you still in touch with headquarters trying to subvert democracy?
I wasn't involved in any of those operations. No, I mean, look, the road, I left the SEAL teams to start business and failed miserably.
What kind of business?
I wanted to do, it's funny, I actually read Donald Trump's book in Guantanamo Bay when we were doing some stuff in Haiti back in 2004. And it was his book, How to Get Rich.
Wait, you read Donald Trump's book in Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah, in 2004. And I think, no, it was whatever, somewhere around there. And I read that book, and I was on like a mini deployment. We were in Panama doing some stuff with the Panamanian special ops guys. Then the Haiti thing popped off back when we yanked Aristide out of there. And then we were going on the real deployment. And so before I even really deployed in the SEAL teams, I decided this isn't all it's cracked up to be, at least for me. And so I'm just going to do my time here.
What was disappointing about it?
There wasn't enough combat.
Really? You wind up on a SEAL team in the middle of 2 wars and there wasn't enough combat for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't see near as much as a lot of guys. I saw a decent amount, but I went in to like do that job and wanted to do it all the time, and I was not doing it all the time, and so I left. But
you've quite a metabolism.
But
you wind up on the SEAL teams and you're like kind of bored.
Yeah. But it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And then I had an opportunity to screen. Not saying I would have made it. Not saying I wouldn't have, but everybody. I don't mean I had everybody gets the opportunity to scream for Team 6 if they want it. And I was like, well, that's the next level, but it's another 5-year commitment if I do it. And what if it's the same shit that I have here with just a bigger budget with more cool toys? And so I decided I decided, no, I'm gonna get out and be the next Donald Trump and businessman. And got out, started a small real estate thing. Failed horribly.
Where was it?
St. Louis, Missouri. And
you went to do real estate in St. Louis?
Well, my family's from there, so.
What, South Florida wasn't available at the time or something?
No. Just went home and
just in time for Ferguson.
Yeah, it was too. I actually got a great picture of me with Ferguson with the Molotov cocktail, but it's a joke after it happened. But anyways, and so then my dad and I were going to actually start a Jimmy John's franchise. And I didn't grow up with money, and we needed some. So I said, hey, I would never do this, but overseas contracting is a big thing and it's paying pretty good. So how about if I just do that? I'll get the money that we need to start it, and then I'll quit, and we'll start that venture.
Wait, you went overseas as a contractor to pay for a Jimmy John's franchise?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then 2008 hit.
Do you know Jimmy John, by the way?
Yeah. I met him recently. Great guy. I love talking to him.
Good dude.
Yeah.
Yes. At the Elk Party, I think you met him, actually.
Yeah. And we've hung out a couple times. I really like that guy.
Did you tell him that you became a military contractor so you could pay for one of his franchises?
Yeah. But that didn't happen. And
where did you go?
What do you mean?
When you first left to do overseas contracts?
So where I first went, I did because I didn't, I didn't understand exactly how contractors. I didn't know the game.
Yeah.
And so there are different tiers of contracting, and they have they take your background, and there's all these different. There's the DEA contract, there's the ATF contract, or not ATF, excuse me. There's the agency, the NSA, the State Department. There's all kinds of contracts that you can jump on. And I had no idea what I was doing. I thought it was all like one tiered system. And so I threw my name in this kind of recruiting thing, and they came back. There was a company called Armor Group, and out of UK, and they picked me up first. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. This seems pretty low level, but they wanted to make me like a guy in charge because of my background. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll go do this. So I went and did the tryout. It was a complete joke. And then got to Afghanistan, and they put me at the front gate of the of the embassy, and I was like, I lasted about a week, and I was like, hey, give me a flight home. I'm out of here. This is fucking bullshit. Like, I'm not going to be.
You thought you were boarding the SEALs.
Yeah. And, then that's where all the V-bids go off to, the car bombs. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. And went home and got into a fire academy. Didn't like it. And then a friend called.
To be a fireman?
Yeah, to be a firefighter. Because I really missed the camaraderie. And then a friend of mine that I served in Afghanistan with called me up and said, hey, there's a contract that Blackwater has, and I think you should try out for it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I just did a quick pump. I hated it. I was with a bunch of guys that don't know what the hell they're doing. Some of these people were like Bank of America security guards. I was like, this is crazy. And he goes, no. He's like, everybody on this contract has to be from Special Ops. It's a black contract. I can't tell you who it's for, but just give me your resume and I'm going to try to get you in. And so I was like, all right, fine. Gave it to him. And then got a call from Blackwater, and just told me where and when, where to be and what to bring. And it would be.
What did they want you to bring?
It was just, you need these type of clothes, you need this type of equipment, and show up here, go all the way to the back, to the black side, and it'll be a month-long course if you make it. And so I showed up and did the vetting course.
At Blackwater?
At Blackwater.
In North Carolina?
Yep. And made it.
What'd you think of the vetting course?
It was tough.
Really?
Yeah, it was tough.
Having been through BUD/S, you thought it was tough?
It wasn't tough like that. It wasn't like you have to well, you do have to prove yourself. It wasn't like they're not yelling at you and screaming and kicking you around and all that kind of shit. It is a demonstration of your skills. And if you cannot demonstrate your skills to the highest level, then you go home. And
what kind of skills?
Shooting skills, driving skills, close quarters combat, that's entering a room and clearing buildings and rooms and stuff, working with a team. How do you integrate in with all these other special ops guys? And so there's a lot that goes to it, into it. They put you in a lot of extremely stressful situations, and you have to handle it flawlessly or you'll be asked to leave. But the shooting qualifications were really tough.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the shooting qualifications were really tough. And so was the CQB, the close quarters combat. So like one of the exercises, they had this thing called the hooded box drill. And they basically put you in a room like this, and they would tape a square, and you have to stand in the square, and they give you either a rifle or a pistol. And they have like fake flashbangs going off, smoke, yelling, screaming, role players, and they put a hood over your head on a string. So this hood goes over your head. You can't see anything. It's dark. There's strobes. There's all kinds of shit going on. You can hear like all these screams and all this stuff going on, and you are not allowed to leave the box. And so they set up the scenario, and they lift the hood over your head, and then you have to deal with the scenario. So, like, I think the very first scenario, put the hood over my head. There's all these people in there. I can hear them. And they lift the hood up on the string. And there's a guy like closer than from me to you right now with a gun, with a rifle. As soon as the hood goes up, he snaps my head. You're wearing a helmet, but he snaps my head with the muzzle of his rifle. We call it a muzzle snap. And or a muzzle strike, and it knocks me back. And then there's all these people in there that this guy's armed, this guy's unarmed. There's a female over there with a burqa on, and you don't know what's underneath. And you got another guy with a person with a gun in their head. People are shooting at you, and you have to deal and process all that information, not killing innocent, not killing unknown, and deal with the situation. And then they call you back to your box, back to the box. And it's very unemotional. They're not like, hey, you could have done this better, or why didn't you do that? It's either get the fuck out of here, or we're going to run a scenario. And then you come back to the box, and they put the hood back over your head, and then lift the hood, and you're in a totally different scenario. And it might be the next scenario they lift up, nobody's shooting at you, everybody's calm, or people are yelling and shit and shooting their guns up in the air, and you have to figure out who's a threat, who's an unknown, who's an innocent, who's a blue helmet, which would be an asset of ours. You obviously can't kill the asset, and so they run you through a number of scenarios there, doing that. And a lot of people, fail that. So,
but you did not fail.
No. Did
you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was challenging. I like it. I like to be challenged, and really like it. It's really hard to put you in an environment that can be as stressful as what combat is, and when you're in combat, I mean, the decision making has to be on point and very precise. And they did a great job of simulating that kind of stress that you're going to deal with when it's actually for real. And so I thought it was a great drill.
What kind of guys were at the training facility?
All former SOF. So it was all SEALs, SF, Delta, Dev Group, couple of Rangers, MARSOC, which is Marine Special Ops, Air Force CCT, Air Force PJs. I think that covers it.
So highest level that the U.S. military produces.
Yeah, and you had to have that background just to be able to try out for this specific contract.
What was the contract?
That was they called it the OGA contract, which was the CIA contract.
What's OGA stand for?
Other government agency.
So then what? So you get it.
Mm-hmm. So,
are you still thinking about Jimmy John's at this point, or has the box drill just wiped that from your memory?
No, I was still thinking about it. But so then at the end you find out that it is for CIA, and you'd already had your new clearances done, and they give you dates, kick you out the door.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.